Well, I'm here with John Thompson from Fort Meigs in Perrysburg, Ohio. John, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Well, yeah, my name is John, and I am the manager of historic programming here at Fort Meigs, meaning that I handle all the large events and planning them out and getting things organized, dealing with the public as well. But working at a small nonprofit, you end up wearing many, many hats. So I also interpret out here as a battlefield guide. I work with the education programs here and the curriculum for the local students. Handle a lot of the research as well, and basically handling what information is going to be presented to the public, and how that's going to be presented in terms of interpretation. And then, usually use the winter months for writing and research. So I stay pretty busy, but Fort Meigs is a wonderful and beautiful place to work. So it's a perfect fit for someone that loves history and the War of 1812.
In a modern context, can you explain to our viewers where Fort Meigs is? We may have people that have never been there.
Fort Meigs is located in Northwest Ohio. It's in a community called Perrysburg, which is an outer ring suburb of the city of Toledo. We're about 12 miles inland from Lake Erie in Northwest Ohio. It is a big green space here, Fort Meigs. We've got about 72 acres or so, and the reconstructed fort occupies about 10 of those acres. But for big events, we have the whole property to play on, and the whole property for our guests to utilize. So it's a wonderful place to have a reenactment. It's very close to a community, a city, access to stores and groceries, ice, all that kind of stuff. So I'd say it's ideally located, but with our tree line, it's easy to sort of escape the city and kind of fall back in time and have a real immersive experience when you're here.
If you can ignore the sound of trains sounding their horns through the night.
Right. Yeah. The trains, in fact, some of our night tours, we time some of the stops on our night tours to avoid the 9:25 p.m. train that rolls through here, which can be devastating. Yeah. Yeah.
If I can flesh out your description a little bit, very close to I-75, so very easy drive to get there, not far off the highway at all. And just so people have a perspective, especially those coming from Canada, it's just across, well, as you cross the border in Detroit, it's about an hour's drive onto Perrysburg and Fort Meigs. So from Toronto, that would make it about a 4.5 hour drive. Uh, John, why is Fort Meigs significant to the history of the War of 1812?
The site is significant, and the battle here is significant. It represents a real turning point in the Northwest campaigns. It represents sort of the high watermark of Tecumseh and his efforts against the United States. The size of the army that he's able to field will be the largest here. And the British Army, their push into U.S. territory, sort of pushing the U.S. back away from the Canadian border to protect Canada. It also represents really their high point as well. They've taken Michigan at this point, Detroit and the river raisin community, and this will represent their highest achievement as well. For the Americans, it really represents sort of the first time that they see any success on the battlefield. Losses at Mackinac, Detroit, Fort Dearborn, and the River Raisin as well. So it's a significant place, and we're lucky to have it preserved. We're lucky that people can be able to come to a site like this to learn so much about a chapter in North American history. So it has quite a great deal of significance for the overall story of the war. I mentioned Tecumseh. General Proctor is here as well, and the American commander William Henry Harrison. So these are big names in North American history, and they're all here. So the leadership is fantastic, and the size of the engagement here is big for the Northwestern campaign. Artillery, boats, and the ground troops as well. So it's a fascinating study. It's a beautiful story, and one that we love to tell.
Yeah, and if I can add, so if you travel to Fort Meigs itself for our viewers, not a stone fort like Fort Niagara or Fort Erie. It is a wooden palisade, right? It was meant to be a temporary facility housing a very large army, a supply depot. That was largely under canvas, but that enclosed space. Gives us a lot of really neat ground to camp within and to play within as we plan out battle scenarios and other activities. So I've been going to Fort Meigs for well over 20 years, and it's absolutely one of my favorite sites on the tour. And many good friends like John on the call, or over my shoulder, you see Marty and Tamia there, which I think a lot of people will know. And so it's really looking forward to the Grand Tactical. So, what can people expect there, John, as we plan the event for this year?
Well, I guess in the basic sense, parking will be very nearby. Everyone parks near the fort itself, and those that are camping will be camping inside the walls. And so we really recreate what it would have looked like here as just a sea of canvas inside the wooden stockade. Sutlers are arriving on Thursday to set up. Most of the reenacting community is coming in there on Friday. We'll have programming all day Saturday and half the day, at least on Sunday. We're expanding the programming a little bit because this is the Grand Tactical, so there'll be more things to do, more things to present. We will have the big battle demonstrations, and if you've been here before, if the weather permits, we'd like to do something that we haven't done in a very long time, which is have sort of a reenactor only battle on Sunday down on the floodplain itself in front of the fort and beside the river in an area that most of our guests and reenactors don't spend any time on. So it'll be something unique and different. We'll expand some of our skirmishes, the ravine walks as we call them. And then we have a lot of other things going on. Artillery workshops throughout the weekend, lectures in the blockhouses, special activities for non-combatants and camp followers. We'll have a tag sale where individuals can buy and sell their wares that they don't need anymore, their historic clothing and equipment and things like that. We'll have a fashion show for women and camp followers. We'll have a fan painting workshop as well, so some hands-on activities, reenactors only. We've stocked the bookstore with all kinds of specialty titles, really fine pointed material. Yeah.
That always costs me every year. You guys got a great selection. So,
well, right. Yeah, and we really try to do that every year to try to really focus in on some unique subject matter from the war, some titles that are rare to find, and so we'll stock all that in. We serve dinner to everyone on Saturday evening out of our big stone tavern house. And then when the plates are cleared, we're going to have our tavern opened up. We'll have a big tavern tent as well as our stone tavern. Free libations for those that are coming in. The local community here in Toledo has brewed a special beer in honor of the Grand Tactical. Siege Ale will be widely distributed to those that wish. And we have our great tradition of the bonfire, the wheel burning, which has grown out of a partnership from the 41st Regiment of Foot and Cushing's 2nd Artillery here at Fort Meigs. And I know this was sort of a private ceremony in years past, but over the last 4 or 5 years, we've kind of expanded it to include everyone that's in the camp that night and sort of make it about fraternity, about brotherhood, about sharing. And it's always the most beautiful moment, I think, of the weekend is when you can look outside the tavern. And I think the photograph behind you there is just a a snapshot of one section of it, to see that whole field filled with people who are laughing, exchanging stories, having a drink together. It is really the most magical moment as the sun is going down. To have the officers give a toast to all the troops that are there, it's a beautiful thing. We've put together some specialty sort of swag bags for the reenactors that will be arriving. If you don't feel like camping, we have special hotel rooms and hotel rates set aside for you. A special newspaper has been produced by the local community to celebrate the Grand Tactical and the troops that are going to be here, the reenactors that are going to be here, the different units that you might see, that the public might see. So it's really going to be a special weekend out here, and I hope everyone that wishes can join us.
Sounds amazing. And you touch on it a bit, the engagement of the local community, but that's one of the things that has always struck me as I've traveled to the area. Both they're kind of twin communities, I guess, separated by the river. Perrysburg on the one side, Maumee on the other, but like beautiful towns, but incredibly welcoming and appreciative communities. I can't tell you the number of times, I'm chatting with the public during the event, and they ask where I'm from, and I say I've traveled from Canada, and they said, "Well, thank you so much. Like, I can't believe you've traveled all that way to help us commemorate our history here." Like, they're just so kind and appreciative. Uh, I just want to reinforce, you caught my ears, and I've experienced this, but you said the tavern at free libations, and that includes the sea jail. So very, very generous.
Yeah.
And it has truly turned into a wonderful community building event, for both the Crown Forces and the Americans and the site staff. It's a lot of fun. And if I can reinforce from my own experience, something you said, the amenities in the community extremely close by and easy to find. I know my shopping routine is turn right at the lights, and then like within about 2 minutes, I'm at Churchill's grocery store and get my food and personal libations there.
Hmm. Hmm.
But there's all kinds of restaurants with very close proximity. So really, parking is on site. No need for a shuttle or a long walk. All the amenities you might need are extremely close by, and a very easy connection to a major interstate. And then, wow, sounds like amazing programming laid out, John. Well done in your planning. Anything else to add as we wrap this up?
Oh, I would just will add a little bit. Speaking about the local community, yeah, not every town has a historic battlefield in it, and the staff really work hard to make the local community proud of how unique they are, and be very aware of the property here and the cemetery that exists here and the battle dead that we have. And I think, they're used to seeing all of us, the staff, running out to local stores dressed in funny clothes and kind of slipping around in brogans and things like that. So they're used to that sort of thing. We do have a new administration in terms of the civic government here in Perrysburg, and they are very big Fort Meigs fans. They've been very supportive of this event. Like I said, the local paper is putting out a special edition of their newspaper just in honor. And they've put together those gift bags and things like that. So everyone in Perrysburg and across the river in Maumee is familiar with what we do and proud of Fort Meigs, and they're very excited about this event. So, yeah, we hope everyone can come.
Well, we're really excited too. And man, oh man, it's coming soon. So looking forward to it. So yeah.
It is. It is. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm ready. I feel like I've been building towards this for more than a year. And I'm not sure I'm ready, but we're gonna go. We're gonna go. So
All right. Well, when I get there, John, you get a big high five and even a hug from me. So really,
you
really
bet.
looking forward to it. All right.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.